Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Language Arts Gallery. Today, we're going to continue with our English for Academic Purposes course. And today, we're going to focus on direct versus reported speech. We're going to talk about writing a summary, and we're going to talk about the difference between compound and complex sentences. So let's get started.
Okay, let's get started with week 5 of our English for Academic Purposes course. So to begin, I want you to think about a famous quote that you really love, and I want you to think about who said it. So I'm going to give you a moment for that. You can pause the video while you write down a famous quote and who said that famous line. Okay, welcome back. The reason why I wanted you to do that is because today we're going to talk about the difference between direct and reported speech. Direct speech shows exactly what another person said. So, for example, I said, Tom said, I want to leave. I use quotation marks to show that this is exactly what Tom said. Direct speech also uses reporting verbs. Reporting verbs are words like said. So let's try and think of some different reporting verbs. Besides just said, can you think of some others? Okay, so here we've got a list of some other reporting verbs. Said, told, claimed, indicated. Tom indicated. Reported, opined, offered, suggested, explained, boasted, admitted, advised, and ordered. So each of these words can add different shades of meaning to whatever it is we're trying to communicate. And remember, this is by no means an exhaustive list. There are many other reporting verbs. But sometimes we want to indicate what someone else said without using direct quotations. This is called reported speech. Remember, when you're reading something and the person who wrote it used reported speech, you should not assume that these are the speaker's exact words. When we report what someone said, we have to backshift. And backshifting is really complicated, but let's go ahead and go over some examples of backshifting. When we backshift, we have to switch to the verb tense further back in the past. So here are the rules for backshifting. So if the direct speech is in the present simple, we change to the past simple. If it's in the present continuous, we change to the past continuous. If it's in the present perfect, we change to the past perfect. If it's in the past simple, we change to the past perfect. If it's in the past continuous, we change to the past perfect continuous. The past perfect remains in the past perfect. It doesn't change. And when someone's using the simple future tense, like will, it changes to would. So let's look at some examples here. I want you to change this to reported speech. John said, I feel tired. That's direct speech right there because it's got quotation marks. In reported speech, I would say John said he felt tired. Tina complained, I am running late. Tina complained that she was running late. Joe claimed, I have gone skiing. Joe claimed he had gone skiing. Tim admitted, I forgot my book. Tim admitted he had forgotten his book. Jen told us, I was reading the report. Jen told us she had been reading the report. Mike reported, Barb had spoken to the boss before I did. Now remember, this is in the past perfect. So I would say, Mike reported, Barb had spoken to the boss before he did. And for the simple future, Eric said he would be there at 5 p.m. So let's take a look at pronouns and how they change when we're dealing with direct and reported speech. So here, Mike reported Barb had spoken to the boss before I did. And when I put this into reported speech, I change it to Mike said that Barb had spoken to the boss before he did. I changed the pronoun I because I'm showing what Mike said when he was speaking to he because I'm indicating that Mike was speaking. So when we change to reported speech, we need to make sure that we change the pronouns to reflect who is speaking. So based on what we just learned about pronouns, what do you think happens to these words? This, that, these, and those. Let's take a look. Demonstratives change depending on the context of the situation. So for example, Jack said, I love this book. If I had to change this to reported speech, well, I need a little bit more information. Jack said that he loved this book, or Jack said that he loved that book. Both of these are correct. When would I use each one? Well, it depends on proximity, right? If the book is close to the person reporting what Jack said or not. I wouldn't say Jack said he loved that book. If I was holding it, I would say Jack said that he loved this book. When don't we backshift? This is important because backshifting is not always necessary. It's not required if the present statement still holds. And again, we've got to apply context. So let's take a look at an example here. John and Jen are at a party. Jen declares to John, I'm tired, I want to go. John walks over to the host and said, Jen said she's tired and wants to go. Okay, it's still in the present simple tense, right? We don't backshift because Jen just told John how she feels, and she still feels that way. So we don't need to backshift. Let's look at another example. Tim tells Charles, I'm reading a great book. Dora comes home and tells her brother, Tim said he's reading a great book. I don't backshift here because Tim is still in the process of reading that book. So let's get some practice. I want you to assume that you have to backshift in all of these examples. Tom said, I feel sick to my stomach. Tom said he felt sick to his stomach. And remember, if you need more time to finish these, you can pause the video and complete them on your own. Ken declared, I have finished the project. Ken said he had finished the project. Mickey cried, I forgot my wallet at school. Mickey said he had forgotten his wallet at school. She insisted, I will be on time. She said she would be on time. He said, I was hoping to go there. He said he had been hoping to go there. She said, I had visited there before it changed. She said she had visited there before it changed. Okay, let's talk briefly about summary writing. So we're going to briefly review what we already talked about it. And in our next lesson, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about summary writing. And I'm going to build on what we talked about or what we will talk about today with compound and complex sentences. So remember, summaries should use your own words. The only time you should use the exact words that the author is using is when you're using a direct quotation. You want to talk about the big ideas and you want to include relevant support. Those are our key details that we talked about. Remember, we talked about main idea and key details at the beginning of this course, and we said that that was going to be a building block for the other things that we're going to talk about. Don't introduce your opinion. This is important. Remember, you're summarizing or simply telling your audience what the article says. So it's not your analysis of what's been written. It's simply what's been written. Okay. It's a good idea to start with one big idea, present what the article is mainly about, and then provide the relevant details. So read the original text, highlight or annotate the text. Remember, we talked about highlighting and annotating. So use that skill to help you write your summaries. Okay, then if you have to add references, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, then add references. Check your summary. Make sure that it matches or it reflects what was written in the original text. And if you have to revise and edit, do that. So when do I reference in a summary? Well, you may be turning this into your professor. And if that's the case, then you're going to want to reference it. You might also be writing something for your own benefit, but you might want to go back to that at some point in time. And you might want to say, hey, I want to reference a particular source that's mentioned in this summary. Then you're going to want to add that. That's going to make your studying easier. But referencing is not necessary if you're just writing for yourself. If you're reading an article and you just want to summarize it, so you have the main idea and the important points of that article for your own knowledge or to prepare for an exam, then you don't need to add references. Okay, let's talk about something that can help us with our summary writing, and that's complex sentences and compound sentences. So complex sentences help to make our summary writing a bit more concise. Complex sentences contain a dependent clause and an independent clause. An independent clause can stand on its own as a sentence. Think about you as an adult. You're independent. You don't need anyone. You can take care of yourself. An independent clause doesn't need any other words. It can stand on its own as a sentence. When you were young, when you were a child, you were dependent on your parents. A dependent clause requires an independent clause to be part of a complete sentence. So let's look at an example here. Well, standardized testing is common in America. This is not a sentence. This is a dependent clause. I need something more. High-stakes testing environments need to be eliminated. All by itself, those words written in purple are a complete thought. They're a sentence. That's an independent clause. When I put them together and separate them with a comma, I've got a complex sentence. So complex sentences can help us to remove unnecessary words. While high-stakes testing is common in America, this practice needs to be eliminated. Okay, so I can make that more concise. Compound sentences can also help us to make our writing more concise. They can also help to make our writing more fluent. Compound sentences combine two independent clauses together into one sentence. They're usually joined by a coordinating conjunction. Coordinating conjunctions are for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. Okay, so we need one of these words with a comma to combine two independent clauses. Schools need to provide safe, inclusive environments. All by itself, that's a complete sentence. That's an independent clause. So there's my coordinating conjunction. Students will not feel threatened by bullies. That also is an independent clause. So let's get some practice with this. Okay, I want you to tell me whether the following sentences are compound sentences or complex sentences. Now, if you want to pause your video and complete these exercises here on the screen, you can do that. Okay, let's get started with number one. All the pieces of the puzzle are there, but we can't seem to put them together. This is a compound sentence. Although he never complains, that's not a complete thought. He was visibly upset at the results. That's a complex sentence. Since she got a new promotion, she is working longer hours. Complex sentence. He wants to secure adequate funding, so he is approaching new investors. That's a compound sentence. I am arriving at 3 p.m. and I expect you to be there. Compound sentence. While we're currently in talks with a new network, No agreement has been reached yet. That's a complex sentence. Whenever there is work to do, he disappears. Again, that's a complex sentence. So I want you to complete each one of these 4 sentences to make it a complex sentence. Blank, the rapid growth of the company. There was a need for new personnel. We could say due to the rapid growth of the company. Blank, the chemicals are toxic. It would be inadvisable to sell them to the public. Since the chemicals are toxic, it would be inadvisable to sell them to the general public. Blank medications effectively relieve these symptoms. Many have side effects, such as drowsiness. I could say, although medications effectively relieve these symptoms. Blank, he prepares correctly. He will do well on the exam. Say, if he prepares correctly, he will do well on the exam. Okay, so I want you to work together with your classmates to highlight and annotate this sample text. Okay, if you don't have any classmates there, you can simply work on this on your own. And I would like you to write a short summary if you feel you can. So I'm going to go through this with you. Organizing your day efficiently is crucial for academic success. Here's a simple guide to help you manage your time effectively as a student. Start by creating a daily schedule. Break your day into blocks of time, allocating specific periods for classes, study sessions, meals, and leisure. This helps establish a routine, making it easier to stay focused. Prioritize tasks based on deadlines and importance. Identify the most critical assignments and tackle them first. This ensures that you address essential responsibilities before less urgent ones. Allocate specific time slots for studying. Avoid cramming, as it leads to stress and inefficient learning. Instead, break your study sessions into manageable chunks, allowing for regular breaks to maintain concentration. Utilize technology to stay organized. Set reminders on your phone or use productivity apps to help you keep track of deadlines and appointments. Digital calendars can be invaluable for managing your schedule and staying on top of assignments. Lastly, maintain a healthy balance. Ensure you allocate time for relaxation, hobbies, and socializing. A well-rounded day contributes to overall well-being and enhances productivity. By implementing these organizational strategies, you'll find it easier to navigate your student life successfully. Stick to your schedule, stay focused, and watch as your productivity soars. So now that we've read that whole article, let's go ahead and let's make some annotations here. Okay, so we're talking about being organized and achieving academic success. Okay, one thing that the author mentions is creating a daily schedule. That sounds pretty important. Prioritizing tasks. Okay. Finding the most critical ones and doing them first. Okay, he also talks about using technology to stay organized. Okay, here we've got a lot of details about how we can use technology. Maintaining a healthy balance, making sure we have time for staying relaxed. Okay, and if we do this, our productivity is going to increase. So those are just some basic highlights that I would make to this text. Now let's go ahead and see if we can put that into a summary. All right, so you can share your summary with your classmates or your friends. I'm going to share a brief summary that I put together. Students need to stay organized to succeed in school. This article presents strategies to help students stay organized and achieve academic success. Students need to create a schedule for study, which includes doing the most important tasks first and avoid leaving things until the last minute. Using technology to better manage a study schedule can help. Finally, don't forget to balance study with relaxation. These tips can help students do their best in school. Okay, so I used my own words and I hit on all the main points. I also talked about what this article was mostly about. I want to make sure I do that. All right. Great job. So if you like this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment on the video. And in our next video, we're going to go more in depth with summary writing. Okay, I'll see you in our next video at the English Language Arts Gallery.